There is a man you know. Maybe you work with him. Maybe he was a teacher. Maybe he was a stranger you met once and never forgot, who carries a quality of certainty that seems unrelated to any specific achievement or circumstance. He is not always the most successful in the room. He is not always the most physically impressive. But when he speaks, people listen differently. When he enters a space, the space adjusts. And when he makes eye contact, something passes between you that you have never been able to explain. That man has a discipline you have not been shown. This is what it looks like inside the body. Confidence is not a feeling. This is the first thing to understand, and it will change how you approach every confidence-related challenge for the rest of your life. Confidence is a neurological state. It is the output of a particular configuration of hormones, neurotransmitters, and autonomic nervous system activity. It can be generated by circumstances, a recent win, an attractive response from someone you respect. But those are temporary. Real confidence, the kind that exists before the circumstances confirm it, is biological, and it is buildable. The first way sexual discipline builds unshakable confidence is through what psychologists call self-concordance, and what biology expresses as testosterone response to self-directed challenge. When you set an internal standard and meet it, when you make a promise to yourself and keep it, your testosterone levels show a measurable spike. Not because of the specific content of the promise, but because of the self-mastery event itself. Your biology rewards self-governance. Every day of sustained discipline is a neurochemical vote of confidence that your system casts in your favor. Every day of sustained discipline is a neurochemical vote of confidence that your system casts in your favor. Most men experience confidence primarily as external, generated by results, compliments, status, and comparison. This type of confidence is inherently fragile because the inputs that produce it are not within your control. This type of confidence is inherently fragile because the inputs that produce it are not within your control. Somebody withholds approval, and it deflates. A result disappoints, and it collapses. Someone withholds approval, and it deflates. A result disappoints, and it collapses. Sexual discipline builds something different: internal confidence. Confidence that is generated by your relationship with yourself rather than by your reception from others. This kind of confidence is not affected by social weather. It carries itself in a windstorm. The second upgrade is to your eye contact, and this is where the biological mechanism becomes both fascinating and immediately practical. Eye contact is regulated by a combination of testosterone, cortisol, serotonin, and oxytocin. The willingness and ability to hold another person's gaze calmly is directly suppressed by high cortisol and low testosterone, the exact hormonal configuration of a man in depletion. As retention restores the favorable ratio, the biological capacity for direct, calm eye contact increases without any conscious effort on your part. But the quality of eye contact changes as well, and quality matters more than duration. There is a category of eye contact that feels like a stare, held too long, slightly aggressive, lacking the natural micro-movements that communicate warmth and safety. This is high testosterone without serotonin, the combination that produces dominance without relatability. Retention, because it also stabilizes serotonin and oxytocin pathways, produces the rarer combination: eye contact that is both steady and warm, both confident and safe. This is the eye contact that people describe as intense in a good way. The third upgrade is to your frame, and frame is perhaps the most important and least discussed element of masculine social presence. Frame is the invisible structure of a man's internal reality, his beliefs, his standards, his sense of his own worth, and his willingness to maintain all of those things under social pressure. A strong frame does not need to be defended loudly. It simply persists. When someone challenges it, it does not collapse or fight. It absorbs. This absorptive stability is what makes certain men seem unshakable without being rigid. Frame is a neurological phenomenon before it is a psychological one. It is the behavioral output of a nervous system that is not running on depletion. A man whose internal resources are repeatedly drained is a man whose frame is structurally weakened. not because he is weak in character, but because his biology cannot sustain the neurological cost of holding firm under pressure when the underlying systems are running empty. Retention fills the tank from which frame draws its energy. The relationship between discipline and frame is direct and profound. Every time you exercise discipline in the hardest domain, the one your nervous system most urgently argues against, you reinforce the neural pathway of, I set a standard and I hold it. This pathway, once established and repeatedly reinforced, generalizes. It shows up in business negotiations where you hold your price instead of capitulating. In relationships where you maintain your boundaries instead of abandoning them for approval. In conversations where you state your truth instead of softening it into meaninglessness. Frame is visible. People can see it in the micro moments of a conversation, in whether you change your position when challenged without new information, in whether your voice rises or steadies when someone pushes back, in whether your eyes hold or deflect when someone tries to dominate you with their gaze, in whether your voice rises or steadies when someone pushes back, in whether your eyes hold or deflect when someone tries to dominate you with their gaze. These moments are tests that life administers constantly and informally. The retained man passes them, not because he prepared for each specific test, but because his biology has been conditioned to hold the line. Here is the connection that makes everything else click into place. Confidence, eye contact, and frame are not three separate qualities to develop through three separate disciplines. They are three expressions of one underlying biological state. The state of a man whose hormonal environment is optimized, whose nervous system is regulated, and whose self-relationship is built on kept promises. Target the root and all three qualities emerge simultaneously. This is why men who discover retention report improvements across every social dimension at once. Not because retention is magic, but because it is foundational. The gym produces confidence in specific limited contexts. Money produces confidence in specific limited contexts. Credentials produce confidence in specific limited contexts. But the confidence that retention produces is context independent. It is the confidence of a man who has faced his own impulse and won repeatedly. That kind of confidence does not need a gym, a bank account, or a certificate to activate. It is with him at 4 a.m. when everything is hard and nobody is watching. Consider the man who only feels confident when he is performing well externally, when he is hitting his metrics, when his relationship is smooth, when his body is looking its best. That man's confidence is hostage to circumstances. Now consider the man who has spent 90 days building the internal foundation of self-mastery through the discipline that is hardest. When his external circumstances are difficult, when the metrics are down, when the relationship is strained, when the body is injured, his core remains steady. That steadiness is what the people around him call confidence without knowing its source. The eye contact of a self-disciplined man communicates something that eye contact training never can. The gaze of a man who has nothing to hide from himself. Guilt, shame, and concealed self-betrayal all live in the eyes. Not because eyes are mystical windows to the soul, because cortisol, the neurochemical of stress and self-betrayal, directly influences pupil dilation, blink rate, and gaze steadiness. A man who has kept his own counsel, who has honored his own standards, who has not betrayed the agreement he made with himself. That man's eyes carry a clarity that is immediately, viscerally compelling. The frame of a sexually disciplined man has a quality that frame techniques cannot replicate. It is not constructed. Most social confidence advice teaches you to construct a frame, to hold positions as a technique, to project confidence as a performance. This works briefly and exhaustingly. The frame that emerges from genuine self-mastery is not constructed. It is expressed. It does not require maintenance because it is not a building. It is a mountain. Mountains do not require structural maintenance. There will be people in your social environment who test you as you begin to change. This is not because they wish you harm. It is because your behavioral change creates dissonance with the model they have built of you. They will probe, casually and unconsciously, to see if the change is real or performed. If it is performed, it will collapse under low-grade testing. If it is biological, if it emerges from genuine retention and genuine self-mastery, it will not only hold but will quietly, without drama, communicate its own permanence. The testing stops. The respect begins. You are designed to carry these qualities. Confidence without arrogance, eye contact without aggression, frame without rigidity. These are not advanced social skills available only to the gifted. They are the natural behavioral outputs of a man whose biology is running as designed. The only thing standing between you and them is the habit that has been quietly, consistently, and silently working against your design for as long as you have maintained it. The road from here is not complicated. It is not easy, but it is not complicated. One decision, renewed daily. One discipline maintained in the moments when it matters most. One kept promise to the man in the mirror, accumulating over days into the most valuable asset a man can possess. A track record of keeping his word to himself. That track record becomes confidence. That confidence becomes eye contact. That eye contact and confidence together become frame. And frame is the foundation of everything. Every man who has watched someone carry these qualities and thought, "I could never have that," was wrong. Not because the qualities were impossible, but because they did not yet understand that the qualities were biological, that biology is changeable, and that the change begins with one decision made seriously rather than casually. You are making that decision now. You have been making it since the first sentence of this script. The question is only whether you will carry it past this screen and into the life that is waiting for you to show up as your full self. If this unlocked something for you today, please like this video, share it quietly with the men who are ready, subscribe for more of this work. And if this genuinely moved you, please hit the thanks button. It means more to this channel than you know. Your confidence, your eye contact, your frame, they are not somewhere in the future. They are emerging right now in every moment you choose to hold.